Hi, welcome to our third session of learning VBA, in which we're going to produce quiz 3, and this one's going to include some random numbers. So as usual, I've started off with a blank worksheet. I've saved the spreadsheet as quiz 3, a macro enabled one, and we're just looking at the ordinary Excel view. So if I do Alt F11, that'll take me to the coding view. And what I'm going to do is to insert, as usual, a module. Now, what we're going to do first of all is just look at some random numbers. So the sub is going to be, we'll call it quiz 3. And the first thing I'm going to do is make up a random number. Because I'm going to make up more than one, I'm going to call the first one A. So I said my A, which means I've got a little whiteboard, which is mine, and I'm going to write number A on it. And it's going to be a random number. Okay, and then I'm going to message box whatever the random number is, so my A. And let's just run that. And it's given me 0.7055 and so on. Let's just run it again. 0.533 and so on. And let's just run it again. So you see it gives me different numbers each time. But I don't really want the numbers to be long decimals between 0 and 0.99999. So to make the number a bit bigger, I'm going to multiply it by 20. So my number is going to be 20 times the random decimal. So let's run that now. This time it's giving me 5.7 something. Run it again. 6.0 something. Run it again. 15.4 something and so on. And it'll give me numbers from 0 to 19.9999999. So I don't really want that either. I only want the whole number because I want to make it a fairly easy quiz. So I'm going to say I just want the integer part of that. Oops. So this bit is going to give me a random number between 0 and 0.999. This one's going to make it bigger. It's going to make it from 0 to 19.99999. And the bit that I've put INT brackets of all of that means that it's only going to give me the whole number part of it. Integer just means whole number. So now when I run F5, so when I press F5 for run, it's going to give me 0. Press F5 again, 15. Press F5 again, 16. Press F5 again, 14. So you can see we're getting different random numbers. So let's do a second random number, which we'll call B. So I'll have a whiteboard called my number B. And on there, I want a random number. Well, that'll just be little. So to make it bigger, I'm going to do 20 times it. And that's bigger, but it's still got a load of decimals on the end. So I'm going to do the integer part only of all of that. And that's going to take something like 15.2126 and just give me the 15. So now I've got two random numbers. Let's get rid of the message box because we're just demonstrating. So that's how we make up two random numbers. Now, I'm going to do adding them together. So my correct answer, which I'll call my correct, is going to be my A plus my B. So that'll make up two numbers. And my correct is going to be the correct total of the two. Now, there's a bit of a peculiarity here in that when we're working with numbers, it's better to tell VBA that A and B are numbers and not letters or words or anything else. So I'm going to start off by saying dim my a as integer, and that dim stands for dimension, and it's just warning VBA that to treat the thing I make up as an integer. The next one, dim my b, is an integer, and then dim my correct is an integer. Now we're also going to take in an answer, so that will be an integer as well. Now, by telling VB that these are all going to be whole numbers, it means that later on when we're doing the arithmetic, it'll understand how to check it. So, first of all, we say what the variables are that we're going to use. I'll just put in an apostrophe comment here and say make up two numbers. Okay, so there's the two numbers. And now I'm going to ask the question. And the question is going to be my answer, because that's where I'm going to write whatever you tell me is input box. What is, and then I'm going to have the first number with a plus sign with some spaces next to it, and the second number. I'll not bother putting the question mark on. So that's going to say WHAT space IS space, because that bit's in inverted commas. And it's going to say whatever the first number is. And it's going to say space plus space. And it's going to say whatever the second number is. So let's just run that and see what it looks like before we go to the checking. Now, you've probably found by now that you must have the cursor somewhere within the subroutine to make sure that it runs. And we press F5. And it says, what's 0 plus 8? Well, I'm going to put 99. And it doesn't matter because we haven't done any checking yet. So, that's displaying the question all right. So how do we know if it's right or not? Well, it's right if the answer that we've written on my answer is the same as the true answer we've put on my correct. So we say if my answer equals my correct, then message box correct. Else message box wrong. And that's the end of seeing if it's right or not. So let's just try that now. What is 17 plus 15? I think that's 32. So the quiz seems to be working. We'll try it one more time, get it wrong this time. What's 7 plus 19? Let's try 22. So it works whether we get it right or wrong. So I could duplicate that bit of code over and over again, just copying it out. But what we're going to do is what we call a loop. So we're going to do 3 questions initially. Now we're going to use the letter I to be the question number. Now we could use question number, but it's traditional to use I. So we're going to say for the question number, so that's I, is 1 to 3. Then we're going to repeat all of that. We're going to do all of that. And then once we've done it, then we'll go on to the next question number. So let's just have a look at that. Now, I'm going to just move that out a little bit. You don't need to. But I'm going to start putting a little bit of structure into the code. So here's the bit that makes up the 2 numbers and asks the question and so on. And then all of that is going to be done 3 times with this loop. For question number is 1 to 3, next question. So note 1 question, second question, third question, and then it'll carry on. So let's just quickly do that. What is 17 plus 1? 18. What is 18 plus 7? 25. And we'll get one wrong this time. What's 10 plus 15? 12. And that's the quiz. Now, I strongly recommend you only do 3 questions to begin with, because if it's not working, and when you're trying little things out, it gets very boring if you're doing 20 questions each time. So get it working first with 3. So I'll go Alt F11 to get back to the spreadsheet view. And I'm going to insert a button to make it go. So insert shapes. We'll do a normal button shape. And we'll call it, just type in adding quiz. And we'll make the text a bit bigger. And we'll center it, and maybe we'll make it bold. Okay, and then we'll link that to quiz 3. So let's try it again. What is 1 plus 11? 12. What is 9 plus 5? 14. And what's 12 plus 12? 24. Okay, now let's just save it. So we do File, Save As, current folder. And I've already saved it once, remember? So I'm saving it as quiz 3. Ooh. And I'm going to save it as a macro-enabled workbook. Okay, should be happy with that. Now, what I'll do now is let's change this into a multiplying quiz. Now you should be able to do that yourself. So try and do it before I do, is just pause the video. And you can have a lot of fun with these. If you want to make the numbers bigger, you change that. If you want to make the numbers not have zeros in, you can add one on each time, and then it'll mean there's no zeros. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the whole of that quiz, and I'm going to change it into quiz times. So I'm still going to call the numbers A, B, my correct, and so on. I'm still going to do the loop to do 3 questions. So because I'm going to do timesing this time, I'm going to make the numbers a bit smaller. So I'm only going to times by 12 instead of timesing by 20. And instead of saying what it is, instead of saying my correct is my A plus my B, my correct is going to be my A times my B. And then in the question, I'm going to change it to what is my A times my B. Now in the question, I've put a little X for the times sign because that's what we like to see. But VBA prefers an asterisk as the times sign, so that's what I've done for the calculation bit. So, same quiz, let's run it. What is 3 times 3? 9. Correct. What was 9 times 9? 81. Okay. And what's 7 times 11? I'll get one wrong just to show that it works when I get them wrong. And that's done wrong. Okay. Now, I'd like to keep the score. So I'm going to start off by saying my score equals 0, and every time you get it right as well as saying correct, I'm going to put my score equals whatever it is before, plus an extra one. And then at the end, I'm going to say message box, you scored, and then whatever your score was, whatever's written on my score whiteboard is your score. Okay. Now, I don't really want to be giving yes or no on the way through. I'm just, well, let's just try it as it is first. So let's run it. F5. There's a mistake because I've spelled message box wrong. Okay, so let's try again with F5 again. What's 2 times 10? 20. What's 8 times 11? 88. What's 2 times 6? 12. Okay. Now, I find the correct each question slowing me down quite a lot. So I'm going to take that line out. So we're going to keep the score each time, but we're not going to say yes or no. So now when I run it, what's 1 times 11? 11. What's 8 times 0? No, it's 0, not 8. What's 6 times 1? And that's 6. And you scored 3. Okay. Now if I do Alt F11, and I'm going to insert another button. And I'm going to call this one times tables. And if I just make that centered and a bit bigger. Oops, too big. And so that one links to the adding quiz. I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to link this one to the timesing quiz. Okay, so let's just do that one now. 1's 9 is 9. 3 noughts are 0. I'll get one wrong. Just so we say I only get a score of 2 this time. Now, Alt F11. So when I got it right, it wasn't telling me, but when I got it wrong, it was still telling me that. So I don't want to keep that in. So there now isn't anything in the or else. So I think I can get rid of the or else altogether. Okay, so let's go back to that. Just Control S and I'll save the whole thing in case anything goes wrong. So times tables, 3 times 11, 33. 11 times 4, 44. 3 times 1 is 3. Okay, and you scored 3. So that's a bit more elegant. Now that it's working, now I'm going to make it go up to 5 questions. As I say, don't do big numbers when you're trying it out. Even if you want to do a 20 question thing, then it's not too tedious to test run it. So 1 7 is 7. 4 4s we'll say is 77, just to get one wrong. 3 8s is 24. Oops, not 34, 24. 2 7s are 14. 2 7s are 14. You see we're getting 5 questions this time. Okay. And so that's that. Now we want to do a dividing quiz. Now dividing is a little harder because you only want numbers that are going to work. So if you just think what we're doing a number A. In the multiply quiz we do A and we do times B. And we get the correct answer. Okay, so let's say A was 5 and B was 2 and the correct answer would be 10. Okay, now if we want to make a dividing quiz, what we can do is we can do divide and then we're going to do 10 divided by 2 is 5. So the 10 is the thing that comes from the correct answer in the times quiz. The divided by number is the B, and the correct answer is A. Because if A times B equals the thing we called correct, then the thing we called correct divided by the thing called B is A. So this is how we do a divide quiz. Now scribble it down a bit of paper and so you get the picture, and then we'll just very quickly put it into code. So I'm going to copy the whole of the times quiz. And this time we're going to call it quiz divide. Okay, so we've still got A, we've still got B, we've still got the correct solution of A times B. But the question we're going to ask is, we're going to ask, what is, and we're going to start with the big number, which was my correct. And we're going to say divided by, and we're going to start with a little number, which is my A. And the answer you should give is the other little number, which was my B. Okay, so it's essentially the same as the times quiz. We actually do a times to make up the question, so that we've got something that we know can divide, but we just jumble them around when we ask the question. So I'll change that to 1 to 3, so it's not too tedious going through, and then we'll F5 to run that. What is 0 divided by 0? Ooh, that's a bit of a problem, isn't it? So I'll put 5. What is 30 divided by 10? 3. What is 36 divided by 9? 4. I got that right. Now, 0 divided by 0 doesn't work. And we don't really want to allow A and B to be 0 because we get silly things happening. So when I make up my A, I'm going to add 1 so that if it comes out as 0, it's going to go up to 1. If it comes out as 11, it's going to go up to 12. And for my B, I'm going to do the same. Because for a divide quiz, we don't want to end up with trying to divide 0 by something. So let's try it again now. So F5. What is 48 by 4? 12. What is 64 divided by 8? 8. What is 12 divided by 6? 2. And you notice there's no space between a by and a 6. So that's a little bit untidy. Okay. So when you say divided by, I want a space after divided by. Okay. And now if I insert another button, and this one is going to be called dividing. Okay, I'll click on the whole shape, I'll go to home, I'll make the writing bigger, and I'll center it, and a little bit bigger still. Yep. Not very consistent buttons, but they're only to demonstrate. So let's assign the macro, and we want the quiz that does the dividing. Okay. So let's just try it quickly. 63 divided by 7 is 9. 121 divided by 11 is 11. 7 divided by 1 is 7. Okay. Now, to make the timesing and the adding more interesting, you can make the numbers bigger. To make the dividing more interesting, well, you want to divide by a small number. So my A, you want to leave my A as small. but you don't mind the other number being quite big. So I'm going to do my big. Let's say my big goes up to 40. Okay. So if I go back to that and I do the dividing quiz, what's 198 divided by 11? Well, 11's into 19 goes once, 8 to carry, 11's into 88 goes 8, so 18. 9 into 18 goes twice, that's 21. 7's into that goes once, remainder 6, so 63 is 9, so that's 19. Okay, and you scored all three. So you can make the quizzes more interesting by by putting bigger numbers in and by putting more questions in. And I'll just save it, and that's the end of this session. Thank you very much.